JetBlue Airways is a low-cost, high-quality airline operating out of New York City. The airline brings in just over $7 billion a year and services 69 domestic cities, 29 cities in the Caribbean, and 9 cities in South and Central America. The bulk of JetBlue's flying is hub and spoke, meaning that they operate trips from major hubs to destinations and back. JetBlue's target audience are people who travel from the Northeast cities such as Boston or New York City to Florida, the Caribbean, or the West Coast. The airline underperforms in markets in Middle America and struggles with its presence on the West Coast. Considering the West Coast, Caribbean, and Florida make up 89% of JetBlue's total operating structure, this could be a potential hindrance in future growth as the airline begins to focus on transatlantic flying. Just recently, JetBlue became unionized for 2 major front-facing work groups, flight and in-flight, or pilots and flight attendants, respectively. This has been a long-standing struggle with both work groups, and with the addition of a relatively new CEO and upper and mid-level leadership change, this has caused JetBlue to struggle, not only with internal communications and branding, but also with the way the work groups interact with their customers. This is most notable when JetBlue lost its first J.D. Power and Associates Award for North American airline satisfaction in 2017 to Southwest Airlines after 11 straight years, from 2005 to 2016. This change in culture due to an influx of hiring in 2016, joined with the last 3 years, of winter storms and hurricanes in JetBlue's major hubs, has soured some customers' perspective of the airline. On the flip side, JetBlue, always keeping humanity at the forefront as their mission statement, has overcome a good amount of negative PR by working with victims of a hurricane in Puerto Rico. JetBlue was the first airline to begin operations again in this hard-hit city, with humanitarian flights bringing supplies and evacuating people. And JetBlue didn't stop there. They continued their goodwill by looking internally and giving employees affected by the storm paid leave, food, supplies, and even money in some cases. This campaign totaled around 1.5 million, has purchased JetBlue a perfect standing on the web, and erased any negative publicity generated in prior months. JetBlue dominates in its market segment, mostly because, until recently, with the acquisition of Virgin America to Alaska Airlines, JetBlue is left alone in the low-cost, high-quality product market. Delta, American, and United dominate a larger market share and only compete on a route-to-route level, while Southwest and Alaska are all only one-class systems, which JetBlue is shying away from. Currently, airlines of JetBlue's size are working with a very thin profit margin and are maximizing on the amount of seats on the plane, versus purchasing and operating larger aircraft or purchasing more aircraft to increase frequency on highly profitable routes. This is trending across the market, as we see with airlines like Spirit, an ultra-low-cost carrier, recently getting FAA approval to move seat pitch down below the minimum standards to add an additional 2 rows on an already overcrowded plane. JetBlue is trying to do this in a tasteful way, always keeping an eye on the customer experience by reconfiguring an entire fleet of A320s, by adding mood lighting and updating the entertainment options on board, and all by installing slimline seats which will not affect the customer experience or lessen the current amount of legroom on board. This is always JetBlue's objective.